The plague, also known as the Black Death, is a fast-spreading infectious disease, Yersinia pestis, that is carried through infected fleas and rats, and passed on to humans when bitten. It spreads through physical contact and leaves lasting consequences. Symptoms such as fever, chills, headaches, vomiting blood, feeling tired and weak are very common, and black patches may appear. Lymph nodes swell into buboes and appear on the neck, armpits and thighs. There is no vaccine yet, but antibiotics can help cure a person within 1-2 weeks. Also, quarantine may be advisable to stop spreading the germs. 60% to 80% of people who catch the disease die, mainly within 1 week. Going back to the first pandemic, plague of Justinian in CE 541. This affected the Eastern Roman Empire and Constantinople, now Istanbul, Turkey. Procopius of Caesarea, a historian from that time, reported that the plague actually began in Egypt, even though today it is thought that it began in Asia, and ships carrying rats brought the plague to the Roman Empire. It spread across Europe and also hit Africa, Asia and the Middle East in the next couple years. It is believed the pandemic didn't end until mid-700s, and that 30-50 million people died during this. Emperor Justinian I, who ruled the empire, caught the plague but survived. The 1347 to 1351 plague was a horrendous event that made Europe suffer greatly, sweeping the continent for 4 years. It was estimated that a large amount, 30% to 60% of Europe's population had been wiped out from this disease. 60-70% died in Hamburg, Germany, 45-75% in Florence, Italy, 35% in Dublin, Ireland, 50% in Paris, France, and 50% in London, England. It was suggested that the plague at its peak killed 10,000 people per day, and half of London's population, 40,000, died. When the sailors got off the galleys at the port of Messina in October 1347, they started collapsing, and the local traders and fishermen watched them suffer a terrible disease. Soon the people of Messina fell ill, but it was too late because the plague had already arrived in Europe. For the interview side of this inquiry, I emailed the Museum of London. I emailed them on Friday and got a reply the following day. Ross Sharris, the inquiry administrator, mentioned that the exhibit they have tended to focus on the 1665 plague outbreak that arose in London and Britain, because it was the last major outbreak in their capital. She gave me some helpful websites to read about both outbreaks, 1347 and 1665, that would hopefully deem helpful to answer most of my questions I gave. They ended up very useful, and I aimed a lot of my research off those websites. It is highly unlikely that we will have a fourth pandemic because people who catch the plague are treated fairly quickly, and any further outbreaks in countries are only on the smaller scale. We have grown in knowledge about the bacteria Yersinia pestis and are able to identify symptoms and have better control over any outbreaks, reducing the number of fleas with insecticides and lowering the death rate with antibiotics. We have even created a nursery rhyme, Ring-a-ring-o roses.
Ring-a-ring-a roses, a pocket full of posies, a tissue, we all fall down.
And many people believe it's based off the plague. Roses are relating to the red blotches on the skin, and posies are a sweet-smelling flower that people used to ward off the disease. A tissue related to people who had sneezing fits when they caught the pneumonic plague, and we all fall down refers to people dying. Thank you for listening to this long-ass movie. Hee hee, have a nice day.